Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Before we get started, we're going to watch Mr. Jeff Dolian in front of us give us a small donut demonstration. So there he goes. Overall, I think the donut had good definition. Didn't quite get that full rotation, so I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10, which is not bad. Still room for improvement, but overall, good effort.
Donut.
So on a more serious note, this is going to be the Winter 3 pre-final and final race here at North Texas Karters. I combined the two videos because you will see later, so make sure you stick around to the end to watch that final race. But in today's video, we qualified in 10th place out of 15 people, but the qualifying was crazy competitive. Now, I don't normally film qualifying because it's usually a little boring, so I've got the results right here. And like I said, I'm in 10th place, and if we look at the gap between me sitting in 10th and first place, the pole sitter, it's a little less than 0.4 of a second, which is really close. These are really close margins. Now, in qualifying, I did not have a draft. I know other people didn't have drafts, but I did not have a draft, and usually when you have a draft, you're a couple tenths faster, so could have gone faster. Obviously didn't, but that just shows you that the level of competitiveness is very high for this race. So the strategy for this race is going to be aggressive. I got to be aggressive. It's going to be very hard, even if I am aggressive, because there's so many people and everyone's about the same speed, so it's going to be hard, but that's going to be the strategy. One thing to note is that it is very cold and very windy. So that's why we are given 2 warm-up laps instead of 1, just to get the heat in the tires. But the first lap is probably going to be very slippery, so we got to watch out for that. And unfortunately, I do not have a backwards-facing camera for this race. If you didn't see my endurance race, basically what happened is I ran it over and I broke the case for the GoPro, and now I don't have a backwards camera for now. I did order a case for the GoPro, but it didn't arrive until the day after this race. So the next race, I will have a backwards camera, but for now, it'll be a front-facing camera. Now, I will apologize for the quality of this video. It's in cinematic mode. I don't normally have the front-facing camera in cinematic mode, but whenever I'd press record, it would automatically go into that mode. Usually for karting, I have a different mode, but for some reason it kept glitching out like that. But we're in 9th here. We have Mr. Jeff Dolian taking 9th back. He finally caught up to the pack, so we're now in 10th. We've got Chuck in front of us. We're rounding out the last couple of corners, and before this race, Chuck and I agreed that we're going to take it nice and easy at the start. We think there's going to be carnage since it's slippery and there's a bunch of us, so we're going to take it nice and easy. So we're on the straight now. We're going to wait for the flagman to wave green, and flagman waves green. We're good to go. Right off the bat, there's an opening on the inside, so I definitely want the inside into turn 1 here. We're going to follow Jeff into turn 1. We make it out alive. Going to turn 2, we're going to send it up the inside on Jeff, hopefully get 9th place. Coming out of turn 2, going into turn 3, Jeff's on my inside, so he's going to retake 9th place here. And so now we're back down into 10th. Going through the chicane, we see my friend Colin cutting the corner because he got pushed off track. And then going into turn 7, we see Adrian is looking for the move on Chuck through turn 7 here, which causes Chuck and Jeff to go side by side through turns 8 and 9. I am not close enough to benefit from this, and now the race is starting to settle down. So surprisingly, no one got murdered at the beginning of this race, except Colin. He got pushed off track, but not the end of the world. So surprised at how clean that race start was. Going through turn 2 here, absolutely make a hash out of that corner. Really messed up. And then now you can see that I'm a little too far away from Jeff in front of me to benefit from his slipstream, so he's just going to pull away down the straight here. Going into turn 7 here, watch Jeff. He gets a little sideways here. I'm going to try and hold it around the outside, so I got the inside for turn 8 and 9 here. It kind of forces me off track, so that causes me to have a crappy line through turns 8 and 9 here. Very bad exit, and now going into turn 1 here, I'm on the back foot. There is someone behind me trying to pass me, and they send it up my inside going into turn 1 here. and now we're down into 11th place. So we don't want to be going backwards in this race. We want to be going forwards like any other race. So we're going to try and stick with 602 here. Maybe he's quick, I don't know. And hopefully catch up to Jeff up ahead because he has pulled away from us. But going down into turn 7 right here, we can see my friend Colin has just absolutely wrecked himself, and now he's trying to see if it's faster in the grass. I'm going to tell you now, Colin, it's not faster in the grass, so don't do that. But going to turns 8 and 9 here, 602 is going defensive, which I really did not want him going defensive because that's going to slow us down and allow Jeff to pull away. So coming to turns 8 and 9 here, I've got a better run. I'm going to try and pass him because I don't want him going defensive. I want to catch up to Jeff. So now we're up into 9th place here, and our target is catching up to Jeff. So at this point in the race, I'm starting to feel that there might be something wrong with my kart. Going through the corners, it feels a little slower than normal. During the race, I couldn't quite tell what it was, but after race, I figured out it was my brake caliper was moving. It was loose. So going through corners like turn 7 here, especially through turns 8 and 9, the caliper would move a little bit and then rub on the brake disc, causing me to be a little slow through the corners. So coming out of turns 8 and 9 here, again, slow through the corners, and we've got number 602 looking for the inside through turn 1 here, and now we're back down into 10th place. So knowing this, my strategy has changed. We're on lap 5 now. We don't really have a lot of laps to go as 602 goes semi-defensive through turn 3 here. But knowing this, we don't have a lot of laps to go, so now my goal is to get in front of 602 and defend against him. But you can see he's already slowly pulling away from me, which is not what I want. But coming out of turn 7 here, we have caught up to him just a little bit. I guess one good thing of your brakes slightly rubbing is you've got good brakes. But coming out of turns 8 and 9 here, we can see he has a little bit more acceleration than me, but as soon as he hits his rev limiter, I kind of catch up to him. So I know that I've got more top end than him, which is a good thing to know. But going through turn 2 here, I force him offline a little bit, make him take a more narrow line through turn 3 here, compromises his exit. Now I've got the inside going into the chicane. You can't really hold it around the outside going into the chicane, and now we're up into 9th place. So it's really good driving from 602. He's been doing very good, giving me lots of space. Going through turn 7 here, I think I took a wider line because he poked a nose through, but going through turns 8 and 9 here, again, brakes are rubbing just a little bit, and he's got that acceleration. So coming out of turns 8 and 9 here, we're side by side crossing the start-finish line. I pinch him narrow. I want him to take a more narrow line. I go out wide last second, take a better line, get the over-under on him. I've got the inside going to turn 2 here, and now I'm back up into 9th place. There's about 1.5 laps to go. I still got to defend against him, but luckily, since we've been fighting so much, the people behind us have caught up to us, and now they are starting to battle 602, and now I can start to try and pull away. So we're rounding out the last couple of corners of this second to last lap. We're about to start the last lap, and up ahead, Jeff is too far away for us to catch up, so we're going to focus on the people behind us. Going down the back straight here, I do look behind me. They're not close enough for the move. They are close, but they're not close enough. Going through turn 2, no one sends it up the inside, so we're good there. Turn 3, people can pass through there. It's a little dicey. And then through the chicane, obviously I just passed through the chicane, so it is possible. Coming out of the chicane, I look behind me again, and the gap is much bigger. So it's looking like we're going to get 9th place here. We do gain 1 position because our friend Colin did spin out near the beginning, but it's 1 position. We'll take it, and we will be starting on the inside for the next race. So after this pre-final race, I did manage to fix my loose caliper. Kind of hard to explain how I fixed it, so I'm just going to tell you I got it fixed. That's all that matters. Huge shout out to the people who helped me, Mr. Underhill, Mr. Chappell, Colton, Colin, and Matt. Thank you guys all for helping me in my time of need. But we are now on the final race here. We've got Jeff in front of us yet again, and sadly, he does not give us another donut demonstration. I think he has officially retired from the sport. So if you haven't noticed yet, the sun is much lower on the horizon, so it has gotten a little bit colder. It's going to be a little bit harder to warm up those tires. Usually when you're warming up the tires, you also want to be checking your brakes. So what I like to do is going to turn 7, I like to slam on the brakes, lets me know where my brakes are temperature-wise. Up ahead, we can see someone is going off into the grass, and I think that is Drew Chappell. So Drew, if you're watching, the grass will not warm up your tires. It's a funny phenomenon, but that is the truth, so make sure you keep it on the tarmac. So we're going to skip ahead to the formation lap here. You don't want to see some boring warm-up laps. That doesn't make for good content. So we're on the formation lap here. We've got Landon directly in front of us in cart number 625. And we've got Colton, our unofficial teammate, starting on pole. So Colton, before the race, gave me a rough idea of how he's going to start the race. So I have a general idea of what I am going to do. But coming out of these last couple of corners here, we're going to push Landon. We want to be right on his bumper. We don't want him pulling away from us. So we're down the straight here. We're waiting for the flagman to wave green. Flagman waves green. We're good to go. Right off the bat, we want to hold the inside for the first 2 corners because they're both left-handers. So we have the inside for turn 1 here. We gain 1 position. We go up into 8th. Going into turn 2, again, we're going to keep it on the inside. Don't lose any positions. Through turn 3, we're going to go to the right, not to pass anyone, but to block any attempts of dive bombs. And we managed to hold it quite well. We're still in 8th place. So halfway through the race, or halfway through the first lap, we've gained 1 position. We've got Jeff behind me. He's keeping me close company. Going through turn 7 here, I think Landon looked for the move, but didn't quite happen. Coming out of turns 8 and 9 here, we're going to see someone off into the grass here. That is Ethan. Ethan, like I told Drew, the grass is not faster, so don't go in the grass. Landon's looking on the inside of Ethan going to turn 1 here. I wasn't close enough to follow him. Coming out of turn 1 here, Ethan gets over under. I'm going to follow him going to turn 2. Dive on the inside of Landon here. Going into turn 3, Landon kind of pushes me out wide going into turn 3, and I get pushed into the tire wall here. My cart stalls. We see Tim here. He's our fire marshal or EMT, and he's helping me get out of the grass here. And now we're in last place by about half a lap. So obviously I'm very gutted at this point. No one likes it when you are in last place by such a big margin, but accidents happen. You just got to dust them off as I'm weaving down the straight here trying to get the grass off my tires. Accidents happen, there's really nothing I can do about it right now. I just got to put my head down and keep pushing. So at this point, I've got 2 options. I can either cheat and secure a podium, or I can keep my morals and just keep going and doing hot laps. So there is a short track around here. There's a little shortcut. I could do a cheeky little move and get in front of everyone, but I'm not sure the race director would approve of that, so I'm going to keep it with the second option. I'm going to keep it with my morals and just set hot laps. So my goal at this point in the race is to try and catch up to someone. I don't care who it is. I just want to catch up to someone so I can at least have a good feeling of passing someone. I don't necessarily have to pass them, but I would love to catch up to someone. Now, I'm not going to try and talk over the rest of this race. That would take a very long time because obviously the next person in front of me is a couple corners in front of me, so it's going to take a while. So I'm just going to skip ahead to the highlights of this main final race. So we skip ahead to lap 11. Sadly, we're still in last place, 15 out of 15, but we are catching up to the person in 14th. They're currently about 1.5 corners in front of us, so we are catching up to them. Not very quickly, but we are catching up to them. But coming out of the chicane here, if we look to the left, there's someone in the grass. You can see their cart right there, and that was Adrian. I think Adrian was leading this race, and then he got a mechanical, so that is very unfortunate for him, but we do move up into 14th place. So we're rounding out the last couple of corners of lap 11. We're going to skip ahead to the last lap, and as you can see, we're not very close to the person in 13th, the person directly in front of us. We were only about a couple tenths faster than them per lap, so we needed more laps in order to catch up to them. So sadly, we were not able to catch up to them throughout this race. Now, I could pass them if I did an absolutely sensational dive bomb, but I don't think that's going to happen today. So sadly, I finished in 14th. It's not the race I wanted, but it's the race I got. And I hate ending things on a bad note. So here's a picture of a monkey. But that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.